My name's Tom, and I'm the Programme Officer for Bangladesh CAFOD. Welcome to everyone who is in the room with us in Romera House. Welcome to everyone who's watching in volunteer centres across England and Wales, and welcome to everyone who's watching this in the future as well, because we are recording this talk too. The government of Bangladesh have a vision that by 2021 the country will have middle income status, and part of this strategy is that many more people will work overseas, go overseas for work, and migrant workers. And unfortunately, with migration on this scale, there is lots of rights violations, abuse, and trafficking. That's where CAFOD's partner OKUP comes in, and we're very lucky today to be joined by Shakirul Islam, who's the director of CAFOD partner OKUP, and he's going to share with us some of his work.
Okay, it's done and it's in Bangla, so I'll just give a brief on this. It's basically an urge of a migrant worker that speaking that they are doing everything for the employer. They are taking care of the employer's son, but her son is far away from her, and she cannot see her. So all these things she was telling, and then she was asking that why you are considering me as a slave, why you are thinking about only the migrant remittances, and why you think of me a machine. I'm a human being as you are. End of the day, so she was asking respect, she was asking rights from the employer. So this is the thing that a migrant is asking, respects, describing his or her contribution to be a human being as the employers are. So this is the thing, and then I will go for the next slide. So the next slide is, and then statistics from one of our recent research, and it shows that, and the research was done the Bangladeshi domestic workers in Lebanon only, and the objective was why what are the problems that the domestic worker face, and then they run away from the employer's house. And these are the reasons that most of them say that they are not provide adequate food, and then 58% said they face physical torture by the employers. 58% say that the less salary, no rest off, excessive working hours, no salary at all, no more than work in one houses, and the sexual abuse, health treatment. So these are the main causes that migrant domestic workers usually face in the countries of destination like Lebanon. And I mean, it's a common scenario. It's not only Lebanon. If we talk about Saudi Arabia, if we talk about UAE and other Gulf countries, the situation is almost same for the women domestic workers. And if we talk about the male migrant workers, it's again the same condition, that they are exploited in many ways, especially in terms of wages, in terms of their benefits and other issues. Many of them actually work as bonded labor because they have debt in the country for managing the migration cost. And on the other hand, they are almost locked under the employer's control, because the passports of the employers are locked up by the employers because of the sponsorship system that is called kafala. So all the migrants actually in one fact is like bonded labor, because they are not allowed to go free to find their work in the destination countries and do something by themselves what they want, because they are their passports are locked up. And so it's really a very limited kind of movement they enjoy under this sponsorship system. And then yes, the very some pitch of stories here. One woman said that, "Madam, without any shout, had burned my arm with the burning stick of the chicken grill, while I became dozing on the chair during a midnight party in the house." So this was like very touchy, then a domestic worker starts working since 5 o'clock and until 2 p.m. in the morning again, and then if they feel any dizziness, if they feel any difficult situation, and then the response by the employers is like that. So it's not like a human being behavior. So there are many more stories like these. So I'm not going through each and every because of time limitations, I know, but you can keep this presentation and then you can read if you want later on. So these are the contexts actually the migrant face in the in the countries of destination, and there are many difficulties, faults in the recruitment process, in pre-departure stages in the countries of origin like Bangladesh. But despite that, if we talk about why migration is very prominent issue in Bangladesh, because Bangladesh is one of the top 10 labor-sending country in the world. So it's very happy, Bangladesh government is very happy to send people abroad for work. Why? There are several reasons. For example, we have 72 million workforce, and the unemployment rate is only 4.3%. It's according to the government statistics, but the underemployment is huge. But again, there are many manipulation in terms of this type of statistics by the government. So, and again, 1.5 million young force are coming into the labor market every year. So the government is not able to provide job for all this, amount of people. And on the other hand, then, climate change has become another issue for us, that it's because of these river erosion and salinity is increasing, and then agricultural farms are now closing because of the salinity and all these things. So again, it starts internal migration in Bangladesh, and in some cases it's also forcing people to leave the country. For example, if we talk about one particular district in Bangladesh, so because of the river erosion, that village after village are going into the river bed, and then people are moving, and many of them are coming to Italy because they have some kind of previous linkage with Italy, because many Bangladeshis are there. So many things are actually promoting, pushing people to move, and on top of that, the government has taken pro-migration policies to push people to go. So this is the context that the people are moving forward in search of better life, in search of employment, and so on. So and in this context, actually, OKUP came up in 2004 to respond to these issues, especially at that time there were very few organizations who were talking about the rights violation of migrant workers. And then government said, why the NGOs are talking about migrant workers? Because NGOs do business always, so it's from the vested interest, it's from the donor's perspective thing. So that time actually we came up, because I myself is not a migrant worker, but my father was a poor migrant worker, and I grew up with the money that my father sent. And then my colleague Farooq and others, they are the migrant workers. They face difficult problems in different countries, and that time actually we came together that yes, we need to organize, because in Bangladesh there are many groups, even the workers, even the rickshaw pullers, and everywhere they are organized. So if they have any problem, they can raise together, and then and there is no platform for the migrant workers to talk together and to raise their voices. And then we started our organization, and the name of our organization is Ovibashi Kormi Unnayan Program. It means Migrant Workers Development Program. So it's formed by the migrant workers, and still it is running by the migrant workers, and that's why our vision is very clear, that we want and promoting enabling environment for the migrant workers across the border. It's not only in Bangladesh, even in the destination countries, so that their rights are protected and guaranteed, and they and again, in relation to labor migration, human trafficking is very much interlinked because the people move without much more information, and there are groups, agents who usually take opportunity to send people, without proper information, and they, proper information, as well as they collect a lot of money. They show the dream, they sell the dream, and then so it happens in many cases. Smuggling of migrant workers also happens because many migrant, for example, we had a crisis in 2005. We called it Andaman crisis. Many Bangladeshis, along with Rohingyas, that traveled to Malaysia by boat. Yes, many of them are aware about the process, about the route they will follow. They will go to Malaysia, but again, they were not informed in a proper way that what might happen, what can happen, and so on. So in that context, yes, trafficking, smuggling is there, bonded labor is there, and yes, we also want a socio-economic development of the returnees and the spouses of migrants, livelihood, children, as well as climate-induced migrants. So for all of them, we want an enabling environment through providing institutional mechanisms so that the migrants' rights protection are respected, and the government take initiatives on that. And in line with our vision, we have some specific missions. For example, we want to reduce risks and vulnerabilities related to migration, because as a migrant organization, we never promote migrant workers. Our position is migration should be by choice, migration should be informed. So that's why actually we are talking about that. Yes, we want reduction of the forced labor migration and also trafficking and bonded labor. And then we extend supports and assistance in the form of rescue, repatriation, shelter, help, legal of the most vulnerable migrant workers or the survivors of the trafficking and smuggling. And then we want to build a sustainable livelihood and economic integration, because if there is no options for livelihood in the country, people will be forced to move. So it's better that we start sustainable livelihood options so that they can choose whether they will stay or they will move forward. And then, yes, we are also working to organize migrant workers from the feeling that I said that there is, if it is NGO, right now, OKUP is registered with NGO Affairs Bureau. And that means we are controlled by the government. So sometimes it's very challenging for us to talk against the governments, to raise something that is not in favor of the government. And that's why we are organizing returning migrant workers in different communities so that they can raise their voices, they can talk about their problems. So that's another mission that we want to bring up our intervention, our dream in a sustainable manner, so that it doesn't depend on the projects only. And then, yes, we do action research for evidence-based advocacy. So we have very strong action research and research documents, and we usually do advocacy at local level, at national level, and also we have very good participation in advocacy at regional and international level. For example, there are several regional processes, advocacy for advocacy with the governments of the countries of destination and the countries of origin. There is the Global Forum on Migration and Development, and many other processes are there. So we are engaged in every processes so that we can raise these things. And we have also partnership with different regional networks. For example, GetW, which is works on human trafficking. We have partnership with Caramasia, which is an network of organization working on migration, and then and so on. I will move next is like, this is the areas that we have working currently. One is awareness and prevention. It's at pre-departure stage, especially we have very grassroots level activities from door-to-door campaign, outreach campaign, pre-decision training and pre-departure training. And it's a link that, yes, we are providing basic information, very primary information at outreach campaigns, and then we are going door to door to provide more in-depth information so that it helps them to take decision. And then we have pre-decision, which is much more constructive to make them understand the factors that they need to consider before they decide for migration, and if they decide how to go, what they should follow to ensure their migration safe and secure for them. So we have a range of activities under that, and I'll show some pictures later on. And then we have activities on rescue, repatriation, shelter, and reunification, because many migrants are stuck in the destination countries or under the employers' control, and many of them want to return back, but they don't know how. And as we have a pre-departure training at the very final stage of migration, so and the training is part of government mandatory training. So we provide the helpline information, so that if they face any difficulties, they can call us. And we, in Arab country, when a domestic worker goes, then everything, all documents are taken away. So we provide the helpline information with a cap, kitchen cap as a tag, like shirts, then or we give them a kitchen apron. So there is a tag with the helpline. So if they face, they call us, and then we take an initiative. In some countries we have partners, but in some countries we don't have. So we have a government mechanism. So we apply through this government mechanism where we don't have any local partner. So we assist them in rescue and repatriation. So we have shelter, the most vulnerable women who are coming pregnant, who are coming with small babies, and family are not ready to accept them, the society is not ready to accept them, so they stay in that shelter. And then we have some sort of activities for ensuring legal aid, legal assistance for those who need. And very recently, we have submitted a proposal to EU with the support of CAFOD, and we have very much focused activities, especially to ensure access to justice for Bangladeshi migrant workers, particularly women and underage girls. And we have very good interventions and activities for ensuring access to health of migrant workers, including HIV/AIDS. And then, yes, we have skill employment and entrepreneurship training activities. And we have already established 2 garment factories. A small garment it's in line with the local demand to supply to the local market as well by the vulnerable women migrant workers. So the initiative was taken under the EC project that we have finished, but we are still continuing. Now I will say that yes, the intervention has been sustained because we did not need to pay any money to run this, because the migrants, we have set up backward forward linkage with the local businessmen, so they are ordering sewing materials, and then the women migrants sewing these, and then they are getting wages, and with this money they are managing the rent for the space where the factory is set up, electricity, and so on. So it's almost sustained. So we are doing this, and we are also thinking to expand this kind of activities more, so that if people have employment opportunity, they will not be forced to migrate. and we really do not want that people are forced to migrate. This is one new area that we are very much interested in. We have started under the project that we have partnership with CAFOD, Caritas Luxembourg, and Secure Catholic. So this is the one area, and it's very neglected area. Thousands of women migrant workers living abroad for work, for the betterment of their children, but unfortunately, the children are left behind, and there is little facility to take care of these children, and the children and the growing up children, they are really vulnerable to be exploited, to be abused in a sense of their mother. So we have started some kind of activities, but we really want to go further to work on that. And yes, I have already explained image empowerment of migrant workers, and then action, research, and advocacy. So the next thing is like our current projects. This is the biggest biggest project for us, and it is supported by CAFOD, Caritas Luxembourg, and Secure Catholic. And then we have project with ILO, with IOM, and then Swiss Development Corporation, UNICEF, and Windrock. Windrock is US based, so we have fund from the US. So these things, and then yeah, these are some snapshots to understand that this is outreach activities, and outreach activities is basically we use the folk song because if in Bangladesh culture, if they hear the drum, I mean, we call it dhol, and then people started coming. So with that, we have a very, very good module to follow, to provide information through songs, through questioning, answering, and so on. And then this is a door-to-door activity. So we have field workers. So they go every household, especially those who are planning for migration, and then provide in-depth information so that they can think. And it's not only the migrants. They through door-to-door, they provide information to the family members as well. And then it helps them. It helps the family actually to take decision on consensus. But most of the cases, decisions for women migration come from their husbands or somebody else from the family. Yes, this is our helpline, so people can call if they want any information, if they are stuck in any stages of migration. So we try to help them. So this is pre-decision orientation that I was saying. So we use some kind of materials that is very much participatory and understandable for the migrant workers, because majority of the migrant workers coming from very bottom level of educational level background. So this is very much participatory so that they can understand and think. And then this is like pre-departure. So it's actually a mandatory training by the government. So we have a collaboration with Bangladesh government to organize 7-day residential training for the women, but the government training is around 30 days. So we cover 7 days, and government training is not residential, but our training is residential. And through this training, it is not only to aware them about their rights, but it's also how to adapt in a different culture, because living without rights for a Bangladeshi woman is really difficult. So there is a huge cultural difference from Bangladesh and Middle East. So we actually teach them. We provide them Lebanese food. We provide them Arabian food, and then language practice, how to build a good relation, because we have instructor from who are returning migrant workers. So they know well the local context and how to actually manage and how to deal with the difficulties. And we also have stress management issues, so that if they feel stressed, then how do we manage these things? So it's very effective as far as our impact assessment says that is good for them. And then, yes, it's again related to support and services. So, it's like the airport pickup. So we have a referral mechanism for several countries. For example, Lebanon first, and then Malaysia, and then Jordan. We have partnership. We have someone to even the embassies are much more open to cooperate to provide regular referral. And if they send these cases, the vulnerable cases, then we go to airport and we pick them up. We keep them in our shelter home. We provide them counseling. Many of them return back, mental sick, many of them critically sickness and so on. So we provide them, provide them counseling, as well as we call doctor, and then give primary health care. And then if they need more assistance for health, then we help them to apply to the Wage Earner Welfare Board that is established by the government, so that they can get more assistance from the government for continuing their treatment. And then yes, family reunification. Many of the cases, the family are not ready to take the women, because there are many stigma, discrimination about the women migrants issues. And then yes, sick migrant workers, and yes, dead bodies of migrant workers are coming every day. On average 7 to 8 dead bodies come every day, and most of the cases it says that they have been died because of heart attack. But it's the big question for us as a migrant organization, that the government should actually look into the issue, why the young people who are between 20 to 30 years or 35 years are dying heart attack, whether it is really heart attack or whether it's because of their poor working condition, because of their poor accommodation facilities, or it's because of their hard work. And many of the cases, they actually died in the workplace, but they refused that they died during sleep, because they want to actually get away of giving compensation. Because if it is a death case in workplace, and then they are bound to provide compensation. So there are many things here happening. So we are also doing advocacy. We have conducted research recently, and then we are sharing with the government to look into these issues. And then yes, access to justice, that is very important. And I already said, because Bangladesh has a law for access to justice, but again the system in place is not favorable in favor of the migrant workers. So there are huge scope to provide legal assistance to the migrant workers through arbitration. One is arbitration under the Ministry of Expatriate Employment, and the other one is the court procedures. Yes, the government has law, but there is no rule for the arbitration facilities. And again, in the arbitration cell, they are the government people, and they always favor the recruitment agencies, not the migrant workers, because of their vested interests. So we are going to address these issues. What actually happened during the arbitration process, and what are the challenges in the legal procedure, so that we can push government for convenient environment, legal environment for the migrant workers. And this is something that the migrants are organizing, and then they are taking state initiatives to show off their unity. So yes, and the next one is some economic reintegration that we say that yes, we have established. So they're doing well. And then yes, these things, and we have some kind of we have orientation for the spouses, female spouses of the current migrant workers on remittance management, and also women health, because many female spouses face different form of health difficulties, especially sexual and reproductive health difficulties. So we provide them education on health, and in Bangladesh context, there is a taboo that you cannot share these kind of diseases. You cannot go. It's a shame if somebody goes to the doctor with this kind of sexual or reproductive health problem. But through these activities, we are breaking this kind of mindset. So the spouse are coming up and going to the hospitals for checking up, and on the other hand, they're starting savings, because it's again the migrants, they work hard in the countries of destination and send money, but most of the cases the family members do not care what kind of hard work are doing by the migrants. So through these activities, we are actually educating them so that they start savings, and if they have savings, then they can start investment. And one story is like that. One woman said that, yes, after the training, I have started savings, and then we asked, what are you doing with this money? She said that I bought some hens, and now the hens are giving eggs, so I do not need to buy eggs from the market, and that's how I can save some money, because I do not need to buy eggs every day that I am getting from these hens. So it's a very small story, but it's really very interesting that yes, some kind of changes in their mindset is coming, and they are taking these lessons to bring changes in their lives. Yes, we have given livestock training to around 243 women migrant workers, returning migrant workers in one, we call it Chor, it's a small island inside the river, and it's a huge migration concentrated area. So and then we are trying to link them with livestock department, so that they get government supports and they can take livelihood opportunity interventions for them, and they are not forced to migrate. So I'm not sure. Oh, this research. So we usually do this research every time, and something is like, yes, it's a research project. Something is like that. What the activities we are doing on. So we come up with the analysis and findings so that we can share with the government for advocacy. Right now, we are doing one study with the support from CAFOD, and Richard was, finalizing the proposal at that time, and actually he was pushing to do a study on underage migration. So we have started this study, and this is because in Bangladesh the government has set a time limit, age limit actually for the women migrant workers. It's like 25 years old women can only go abroad for work, but the practical situation is quite different. Many girls under 18 are moving. It's maybe because of their need, or maybe it's because of the role of the traffickers are playing. So I think at we will come up with a good result with this research very soon. And then if we have this, then we can do advocacy at national level and also at other level as well. So, it's like advocacy. So he was very powerful minister in the ministry. And then, yes, it is not now, but again, the thing is, yes, OKUP has very good relation, very strong relation, I would say. It's not that we are in favor of government. We always say we are in favor of ourselves, because we are a migrant organization. So we always talk if somebody says, if government says it's against them, it's against them. We have nothing to do. But we are talking about ourselves, and that's the stand we have with the government as well. And government actually accept these things, and we don't have any hostile relationship with the government. They want to listen to this kind of things. So we have very good relationship with all kind of stakeholders at national level, and we have also partnership with other organizations working on migration issues and trafficking issues in Bangladesh. So, this question.